Because I considered teaching my ministry. That was my mission field.
Dr. Justin Holt. And he considered being a PT very similar to like being a pastor.
This is not about you. This is about the 5,600 people who are in this room.
3 opportunities. Watch only once, throw it away entirely, and keep it on loop.
Please, allow me to show you something.
Hi, you guys. Welcome to the Savage Mountain Podcast, where we have, say it with me, help me.
Familiar
conversations with unfamiliar faces. Thank you. Something's going on. So I am your host, Quan Mickel, and today I bring to you my, I guess, end all be all counterpart in a sense. I guess an older sibling, a friend of a friend, someone that Googled me.
I should have said that's off limits.
Yeah. So
that's what I should have said.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No.
Yeah. So this show is brought to you by Neo Life and Physical Therapy Wellness. Also, Neo Golf. Get your short game up. This is the Savage Mountain Podcast, and today I bring to you my sister-in-law, Carolyn Regina Wood. Got you. That's my idea.
Regi, otherwise known as Regi.
Yes. Nope. So I know you. I love you. Mean it. The world don't know you, or the people that's on this podcast don't know you. Mm-hmm. How can we go about like setting the table? Could you give a solid introduction to you?
My origin story.
Your origin story. Yes.
All
Your
right.
origin story.
I was born on Keesler Air Force Base in 1990.
Damn it.
I'm 34 years old. I am the middle child of 3. My older brother was 3 years older than me. He passed away in 2006. And then my younger sister is your wife. And she is 2 years younger than me. She'll be 33 this year, right? Something like that. I'll be 35. I think she'll be 33. I have
She don't look it.
She does not. I have 2 boys, a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. Been married to my husband for 10 years, together 15. He is a pastor, a worship pastor at Mosaic Church. We have a campus in Harrison County that meets at D'Iberville Middle School, right down the street. So we meet there every Sunday. And I was a teacher for a long time, taught for 10 years, and then just this past year left teaching to stay at home with my 2-year-old.
That's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to unpack. It's wild that and the only reason I want you to come on here, one of the big reasons I want you to come on here is that I want to have a solid perspective or just my journey in Christ. Yeah, because it's not linear. It's not like
It really is.
I didn't, certain things, but you don't really like know about it. I guess I'm very comfortable now praying out loud and having confidence in it. And you are someone that I knew that's like, I'm very familial. And my family was always the inner circle. Mm-hmm. That's like kind of like all what we had, but we're very combative. We had a very like, I guess, aggressive way of showing it. Hence to me saying like the first time I ever handcuffed was if I'm my brother. But you and your sisters and your family showed a different kind of perspective with that, and how you was very like genuine with your love for me and coming into your family. And I was kind of always like standoffish or kind of trying to like test the waters and see like, is this real or is this something that's being done for the sake of me coming in to the family. So having that, and I always sense it like Christ, like I was just like your way of being in the church to me, I thought that was like how you genuinely approached me. And that's always kind of like, find out, so I could be very wrong, but that's just my way of like tying two together.
Yeah.
Is that a good way of going about that? Like, I don't know, like, is that how you go about the world? Like just being authentic and
Oh, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like genuine in that sense.
I would say most people have the same first impression of me that you did.
Yeah. Oh,
which
man.
is not great. And most people do have that first impression. I get a lot of like, I thought you were really mean at first, because I'm not an overly bubbly person. I don't have like a mother hen kind of like soft voice. And even as a teacher, like I didn't have that like Mother Goose type fairy tale type voice as a teacher, you know, like one that's calming and one that's like real sweet. My voice is very loud. It's very abrasive. It's just like, but, and so a lot of people they're kind of like, they think that I'm, you know, standoffish or mean or have like a big, like, don't touch me or don't talk to me on my forehead.
Yeah.
You know? But
I just met you. Sorry to interrupt, but that's not the impression I got at all.
Great.
You came in here very open, great energy,
dude.
great vibe. That's not what I got. Just
Perfect.
meeting you.
I have worked really hard on it because I do understand that as a representative of my church, but also Jesus, it's important for me to be more open and to be kinder off the bat to people.
Yeah.
It was not as important to me when you first came around, clearly, because I had someone Google you.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, I know was probably a stumbling block at first, but I do. I mean, what you see is what you get. And I'm just who I am. And I do love Jesus and I do love people, even if I'm not always loud about it.
Yeah. What led you on that path? To just like, I don't know, to want to just like help others. Hearing Kate talk about you is more like you was very like A, B, C, D. Very structured. Like I'm gonna graduate, go to college.
I always knew what I wanted to do.
Life. Yeah,
I always knew.
That's not today's world.
No. I knew that I wanted to be a wife, a mom, and a teacher from the time I was 4 years old. It's in my preschool yearbook.
Man.
They asked what I wanted to be, and I said, I want to be a mommy, was on one, and then another one the following year said teacher. And so I just always knew that's what I wanted to do. And so going through school, school was very easy for me. I did not have to try. I did not have to study. I just, you know. I know. And Katie did. And so there was like, you know, but yeah, that was always really easy for me. And I did take a 3-year gap between high school and college just because in that time I met Matt, and like at that time, I would say that I was saved, but I was not living the way I should have been. And Matt was not saved at all.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there was like this period where I felt like, well, do I want to be a teacher? Or do I want to go into music? Or do I want to do something else? And I thought for a minute that I wanted to open a daycare. And so there was a little bit of back and forth, but ultimately landed on teaching. And this is what I'm going to do. And so from that point on, I went to college while having a full-time job as a teacher assistant. And then I got my degree and I took over my own classroom in 2017.
So you took a 3-year gap and then still like got everything out of the way before 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. Still figuring,
I was
it's still
27.
people figuring out life.
Yeah, I was 27 when I took my own classroom. Yeah.
I was 26 when I stumbled in here. And I was like, I still don't know. Like, I don't know what a PT is. That's what I told him. I'm like, I don't know what PT is. People just say letters before they start talking about us in our kinesiology class. I'm like, that don't say, none of that says anything about football, coach. So I'm gonna just.
So I don't know about that.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep rocking and rolling. Like C's get degrees, I guess. Like, but you managed to do all that. You're a throwback. Like just like that mindset of like not wanting to be an entrepreneur, not like I mean what you did from like wanting to own a daycare, which I didn't know you wanted to do that. But other than that, it was just.
Yeah, and even when I was trying to do something on my own, so when everything shut down for COVID, there was a website that kind of exploded called OutSchool, and I taught online on OutSchool. And so basically I was in front of a camera teaching preschoolers and kindergartners from their homes, and they would pay to take my classes. And so even when I was doing something where I was kind of like a business owner, it was still teaching related.
Yeah. Dang. So you always want, what stops you from going? How you go from like being a teacher to
staying at home?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I'd love to tell you.
Well, here we go. Gotcha.
So we had Grayson, my 6-year-old, in 2018. That was about a year after I started teaching.
It was a game changer.
It was a game changer. At the time, obviously, I'm going to continue working. There's no, I mean, we have to have 2 incomes. It just has to.
Yes.
That's how things work, and it's just the way things are. So I taught up until I got pregnant with Kellen. I taught that year, and then I taught the year after that. And this was around the time that Matt got hired at Mosaic. Okay. And with both of us having jobs, so my husband worked at Chevron before Mosaic. And so his schedule was like a week on, a week off. So he'd do a week of days, and then he'd have a week off. And then he'd do a week of nights, and he'd have a week off. Yeah. So it was a really bad schedule, but he still, even with that schedule, would be able to come home and be present with the kids. And like, he still cooked. He was the main chef in our house because I hate cooking. So, I mean, he still cooked all the meals. He still was able to do
I ain't gonna be a mom and don't want to cook.
Oh, I just don't like it. I literally told Matt the other day, I was like, can we please switch jobs and I'll do all the yard work and you can cook the food.
Man, dude.
I will mow the grass. I will weed eat. I will pressure wash. I will do the yard stuff. Please just cook because I cannot.
It's opposite. I'll be like, bro, Kate, man. I hate snakes, man. I'm like, Kate.
That is so funny.
Man.
So once he got the ministry job, because I consider teaching my ministry. That was my mission field.
Okay.
And so it took a lot of my mental strength and my emotional strength to essentially minister to these kids and teach these kids all day long. So then by the time I got home, I was mentally and emotionally spent, and my husband could kind of pick up the slack where I would cook, he would watch the boys or play with the boys or whatever, and then or he would cook, I would watch the boys, and then I would clean and he would do the baths, and then so we kind of would tag team like that, and it was great. It was workable for a while. When we both got into jobs that are like ministry jobs, we would both come home emotionally and mentally spent, because he's ministering to other people all day, and I'm taking care of other people's babies all day. And so then we'd come home and it's just like, okay, and now this is the most important space is our home, but we're giving it the leftovers. And it just did not seem fair to our kids. Yeah. And so February of last year, 2023, he was like, I think we should look at what it would look like for you to stay home for a year. Yeah. And so we did. And at that time, we were very fortunate enough to have almost paid off both of our cars. Yeah. And so we did not have very much debt. And so we looked at what it would look like and prayed about it. And I really firmly believe that God was laying the foundation for this for months and months before we even had that talk. Because I do love teaching. It is something that I very much love, and I miss it. But it also was taking so much from me that my boys deserved. And it has been the best decision that we've ever made.
I think that is absolutely amazing. Right? So your passion with purpose, and your passion was teaching. Do you feel like your purpose was to stay at the home, stay at the house,
for sure,
be more of an incredible mother than what you are now?
I do miss teaching. But I can teach my 3-year-old at my house, there are other opportunities for me to teach, and I probably will go back to teaching.
You're teaching people now.
Hopefully. But, I feel like the most important discipleship unit is the one in your home. Yeah. And so when we stopped being able to really do that well and shepherd our kids well, it was a no-brainer.
Oh, dude, that is...
And it's a sacrifice. It's a huge sacrifice.
That's really, all right, yeah.
Living on one income is difficult. It seems like the worst possible time to make a decision to do that, and it's like, it is not... It takes planning. I mean, we budget very strictly. We have, and I do most of that too. I do the
Yeah.
budgeting and I do the groceries and I do all the things so that I know that we have what we need. But that's just the thing is we have what we need.
Yeah. So with that, do you think it's the fact that there is a clear, like, teacher pay isn't the best? But it's the most
It's
foundational.
the lowest in the nation.
It's the lowest in the nation, but it's the most foundational component as far as like kids in our future and stuff like that. Like you need teachers. So did that make this decision easier?
I feel like it did.
I
feel like in a way it did because it was like we're not losing that much money.
Yeah.
And it was also whereas I love teaching, I don't love all of the other stuff.
Yeah,
I don't love all of the pressure that's put on teachers. I don't love the pressure that's put on students. I don't love, the lack of support from the government and from, higher ups and stuff. I don't love all of that stuff. And so to be able to decide to leave all of that, even though, yes, I'm leaving something that I love.
Yeah.
I'm gaining so much more that's so much more important.
There we go. And you're not a PT, but it's a clear correlation with what you're talking about and what I hear what I've seen. So we had a PT that sat across from you, and he related, because his father was a pastor, shout out to Justin, Dr. Justin Holt, and he considered being a PT very similar to like being a pastor, because people come to you with their problems, and burnout is ridiculous in this field, but it's also one of the highest raising, or like it's one of the most competitive jobs now where people are like trying to become PTs or whatnot, but the burnout rate is so high. And I think that's one of the things is that they don't view it as, you say, ministry. And he does, because his dad is one, and he's like, he's just like the drain, like you just giving it all to everyone, and they just want to give you your problems, and you expected to solve them right there on that spot, and the support, and then the cup is, you're giving everything there, but then the most important cup, you can only give it halfway, and then that affects the quality that you're giving to your job, because man. Damn, dude.
Well, and
That's
the Bible tells us to do all things for the glory of God. And so no matter where you're working, you could be working here, you could be working at a restaurant, you can be working at a McDonald's, you can be working at Buc-ee's cleaning the bathrooms.
Yeah.
And it's, if you are a Christian, like it's going to be a ministry. Like we need Christians in secular jobs, we need Christian nurses and Christian doctors and Christian teachers and Christian, we need all of that. Because it is a ministry regardless. This entire world, our city, our town, our state is our mission field. Bible tells us to go and make disciples. And how are we going to do that if we're not ministering to people wherever we're at?
And that's why I tap into you with, especially with what I'm doing with the exercises. You found like it's trying to find a way to, like, obviously I'm not I'm not in the building, right? In that way, but I am someone that believes there is a higher power, and I want to try to make an impact on my community in a positive way. And I guess like just using you as like as a motivational tool. And this is not something that I say all the time, but I just gotta tap in people that inspire me. And the way that you go about it, I just always found it like, I never found it jarring. I just felt it kind of like soothing in a sense, like. Clearly, like your presentation, the way you go about it is way different than your sister. Like it's two different people, but your style is very reminiscent of my sister's. So I kind of vibe with the loudness or whatnot. And I can tell like sometimes people could be like, man, tone it down, Reggie. But it's like, no, I'm me.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that. I always embrace that from afar, but it was always to me to like make me hesitant is like, well, I don't think I'm allowed to champion that out loud, because I don't think she'll accept me because I'm not in the church. like she's in a church. But the more that you kind of like talk to me, the I love yous, the eye contact, I'm like, oh, actually, I can, and I should be okay with that, and I shouldn't, like, it should be no hesitancy or whatnot and at all. I should just say it out loud and be confident in that. So I do channel you whenever I'm engaging with my clients in here, and I don't know the book by hand, you know, but I know a little something, and I always just try to like lean into it as much as I can, like give advice and stuff of that nature. And just because my relationship with you has gotten better at the pace where I feel is, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like it's, I mean, obviously we're not best friends, but I can consider you a friend and someone that I can count on, especially with my daughters or whatnot. So whenever I channel you, I feel like it is authentic, and like you are my representation of a life that I'm not completely in, but it's something that I do feel like I'm leaning heavily towards. And that's one of the reasons I wanted you on here to say that, hey, thank you for having an impact on me from afar, but then that is just getting more like close and closer and closer, where, you know, thank you.
I love that.
For your way of like just impacting people.
Yeah.
Even if you're not like, I don't say like, it's indirectly.
Right.
It's indirect as ever, but it's directly impacting other people because just you being you and not not toning it down.
Yeah.
You know?
And that has definitely, a lot of that is, you know, obviously because of God. I've done a lot of work around, I mean, because, you know, my sister would tell you I was not always impacting people in a positive way, you know, especially not my sister. You know, there were times growing up that I wanted to mother her and I wanted to control her, and, you know, I had very strong opinions about things that she did and people she hung out with, and you know, and a lot of that came from issues that I had that I didn't realize I had until, you know, that all stemmed back from when our brother died.
Okay.
And so it's like, you know, that created a person that without God was losing control, trying to control everyone else so that no one else, she wouldn't lose anyone else. You know, it's like, I have to control where Katie's at because I can't lose her. And for whatever reason, I was prideful enough to think that I had a choice in how safe she was, you know, and through a lot of, you know, I mean, therapy and all of that, but also getting closer with God, I've really been able to kind of tone that down. And, you know, and for me, it's more of like, how prideful was I to think I can control people's futures, you know?
Some people have that. Some people have that mindset. That's something that I actually want to jump into, because having my sister on, she losing her son, and we never dealt with loss at all, and how she handled it was opposite, but she would just stay busy. She would stay busy, and then it was a moment where Kate was discussing and talking about how your mom had a moment, and it's been such a time period since that event, and she was just like, you never forget that or whatnot. But I was always thinking of, as a sibling, I was always the older brother, and they always viewed me as someone. But it happened during COVID, and I really didn't have the relationship that I would have wanted. So it's like I felt almost like helpless in a sense where I couldn't help them.
Yeah.
You know, as a sibling. So with you said that you went to the point where you want to just be overprotective.
Oh yeah.
Of that, because after that, that's when that nuclear family kind of. Yeah.
My parents split a couple years after that. I remember at my high school graduation, I knew that they were splitting. And I was 15 when he passed away. So it was a couple years after that. And then my mom moved back to Maryland to be with her parents. Yeah. And so we didn't, you know, I'm like just now graduated high school, and my mom's gone, you know, and which we'd never lost contact with her, but her parents were getting older, and, you know, and And she stayed here for a little bit, but ultimately ended up going back up there. And so it was just my dad. And so I felt like, okay, now I've got to be Katie's mom.
Yeah.
You know, I have to be the mom of the house because there's not one currently present right now.
Yes.
And so that's where a lot of the control and wanting to know like what she's doing. Why is she not answering her phone? It's 2 a.m. She's at a boy's house that I know she likes. I don't know this boy, so I'm going to call my friend and have her Google him.
Yeah.
And see, this boy was you.
Yeah, it was me.
This boy was Quan.
That's where this whole Google thing is coming
Yes.
from.
Yeah,
I'm glad
man.
we
Yes,
knew the source
her
of that.
phone died, and they were like watching a movie or something. But I'm like, "Where are you at, Katie?"
We was really watching a movie.
They really were.
It was.
I'm like, "Where are you at? What are you doing?" And she's not answering her phone. So I call up my friend, and I'm like, "Can you give me the address of this dude?"
Man.
And she was like, "Tick, tick, tick, tick." And we got his address, and I was about to drive to his house to make sure that my sister was okay, which is kind of crazy, but also kind of sweet.
It
Because
is.
what if she was in danger?
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah. What if she is in danger? But it's like, man, that was.
And I know that gave you a really sour taste for me, which is as understandable.
Yeah. I was like. But if anything, I was more fearful of like, what if my mom answers the door? My mom don't know Katie's here.
Oh.
Like, this
there
is
was
about
some-
this is about to blow up.
She ended up calling me when I was in the Walmart parking lot. So I stopped and turned around and went back home.
But it worked out, man.
It did.
Because, I mean, now.
And now I got 3 beautiful nieces
Yes. Oh,
and
buddy.
one who's going to be in my house every day.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. As we pivot off of that, you mentioned music, and going into you have a beautiful voice,
Thank you.
and that's one thing about Matt that I was always a fan of. Hearing him on a guitar because I'm a big fan of like live acoustics. That's always been my thing. Kate can tell you now. I have a very like random ass playlist.
Yeah.
And I just go wherever I want to go, however I'm feeling. And I was always like, if I can listen to that man play that guitar and listen to you sing, and I've only had a few moments in which I've done that, but I still remember it.
Yeah.
And again, like you don't know the impact that you have on people because a lot of times not a lot of people express it. But I'm here to tell you now, like I've been at your house multiple times. It's been 3 times in which twice y'all played music in there, and I'm like, yo, these are some they can sing their ass off. I know this wouldn't be something that they're like, want me to say like at church or whatnot, but
Right.
I'm a fan of it. Like I love it. I love it. But you had a recent church event,
Yeah.
and
It was big.
yeah,
big.
it was really big.
Yeah.
And you were the forefront of that, right?
I was on the stage with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other vocalists. Yeah.
So
I mean, there was a group of 12 our band had 12 or 13 people all together. But then there was like 5 of us in the front on vocals.
And this goes from like being in a middle school, well, high school that was a middle school,
Yeah.
to
To the Coliseum.
right.
Yeah.
How is that like going? Because like typically like being a teacher, like you're the teacher, but you're more so like behind the scenes a lot of time. At least for me, like people don't really appreciate that. Teachers always like when something bad happens, that's whenever it's like
Yeah.
the teacher, you know.
Yeah.
But like when everything is going great,
Yeah.
you did your job.
Yeah.
Like that's kind
Congratulations.
yeah, like that's always that kind of appreciation or what. But not when it comes to, at least for me, church, it sets the tone with, and I didn't know this was called fellowship. I just thought it was like music time until Kate was like, it's called fellowship, right? When in the
It's called
beginning,
worship.
Worship, yeah, that's it.
Worship.
Worship, yeah, worship time.
What we're doing right now is fellowship.
Yes, that's fellowship. Worship is music.
Yes.
I'm learning. Did you know that?
I did know that actually.
You knew it was
Yes.
called worship?
Yes, I did. Yes.
I'm not a heathen. I'm trying to be better.
Worship is not only music.
Is it now?
No.
No.
Worship is an act of reverence for a deity. In my case, God.
Okay.
So by taking care of my house and by loving my children and by serving my husband, those are all acts of worship because it's what God has commanded me to do.
Ooh. That should
But part of worship is music, yes.
Well, to me, yeah.
Yeah.
Me not knowing nothing about nothing, I was like, my intro was like, all right, I love this portion of me, like fueling my soul. Mm-hmm. It always made me feel good. I always tell people like, hey, sometimes you know, like a lot of times I was like, man, I don't want to go to church, but I know like I'm obligated. I gotta go. Mm-hmm. And then whenever I leave, I'm like, man, thank God I went. I feel great. And it's like kind of like how I feel about the gym. But like now I do it so much. I'm like, no, I have to go. I have to feel it. Like this is a part of me. This is what I need to do. And then I feel like something's getting taken away whenever I don't. Mm-hmm. So with the expectations with some people having, like whenever they first come into this like arena or it's you, what's the pressure on that, especially going from a small area to that?
What's funnier is that...
Sorry about that being very long-winded.
No, that's okay. I was not nervous at all in the Coliseum. I actually get more nervous at D'Iberville Middle School than I did at the Coliseum.
Is it more intimate?
It is. Yeah. I mean, we've got, 250, 300 people every week at the middle school, but it's more, as a vocalist, you want to be excellent. As a vocalist, not a Christian vocalist, but a vocalist in general, you want to be excellent, right? You want to be good. You want people to say like, oh my gosh, she can really sing. You want, as a Christian vocalist who serves on a worship team, you still want to be excellent for the sake of the people that you are leading. It is our job to lead people into a time of worship. And if I am getting, if I'm singing off the rails and forgetting words all the time and doing all these things, that's distracting to the people who are out in the audience, right? It's like, I want to do the best I can for the sake of those people and ultimately because I am worshiping God as well. I'm not up there performing for me. I'm up there worshiping just like you are down there. Yeah. And so, it's my worship time too, and that takes a lot of preparation because I do have to think about lyrics and I do have to think about, and we have, I don't know if anybody knows this, but we have like earbuds that we wear while we're singing, and every musician and every singer has in-ear monitors. And what is going on in those in-ear monitors is a click. And so it's going like to keep us on beat.
Like a metronome?
Metronome,
yeah. But then it also has a voice that will give us cues. So it'll say like verse 2, 3, 4, and then you start the verse.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it'll say like chords. So like somebody's talking to you the whole time too. So it's like I'm having to focus on worshiping my Creator, which is what my soul was designed to do, but do that in front of people and do it well so that they're not distracted. Yeah. And so it is a lot. There's a lot of moving parts to it, and there's a lot. And the Coliseum was, I did a lot of praying before the Coliseum because it is very easy as people who are in a worship band you see all these big worship bands now. You see Elevation Worship, and you see, what's the other one? The other big one.
Hillsong United.
Yeah. And you see like all of these big, huge worship bands that are like, Maverick City Music and all that are, in my opinion, almost idolized by people. Yeah. When it's like but that's not what I want. I don't want to be idolized by people. Yeah. I want people to see me and be able to engage in worship better. Yeah. Because they're seeing the overflow of my inward worship outwardly. And so that's really what it was for me. And so I didn't feel nervous because I was told by the Holy Spirit every 10 minutes probably, this is not about you. This is about the 5,600 people who are in this room and however many of them who have never been a part of worship before and who have, I'm going to get emotional, and who have never like seen anything like this before. Like, look at what I'm doing, God. Look at what I'm doing in your church, like with these people. Like you're in a huge building with 5,600 of your Mosaic family,
Yeah.
And it was just really cool. It was really cool to be up there and to just worship with my family.
Yeah.
It just felt, it was cool. And I truly was honored to be chosen for that, you know.
But with your talent, you don't think like just an inkling of like, I'm going, like this is an opportunity.
So the thing too is my husband is one of the worship pastors. So it would be very easy for me to say, well, of course he's going to pick me because I'm his wife.
Yeah.
But he has a job to do outside of our marriage. And so if the songs that were chosen to be sung were not songs that they felt like I could do well, I wouldn't have been on stage. And there was a moment that I, months ago when all this started being talked about, that I was like, if you are not on the stage, it is okay.
Yeah.
You will be down there worshiping with your family just the same. It's gonna be okay. And it is, my flesh sometimes wants to be like, oh, but I really want to be up there because it's gonna be so cool. And I think that's normal. I mean, our flesh is our flesh, and I just have to get it in check real quick and align it back to what the word says and to what God says. And that gets my ego in check really quickly.
Yeah. Being in this building, and that's that word, ego. Being in this building, you hear a lot of that, like about the ego and death of the ego. But I never really knew what that meant. I just knew like you do and then you don't.
Yeah.
Like you just respond to certain things, or
and God makes you good at certain things.
Yeah.
God has given each one of us gifts. And it's very easy for our flesh to go, oh yeah, I'm really good at that. I got that. You know? Well, I'm the best one here. Why aren't they choosing me for that? You know? And that is, the same kind of energy that Lucifer had.
Yeah.
And we don't want to end up like that. So it's like, you really have to practice being in tune with what the word says and understanding that you would not have any of this if God had not given it to you.
Yeah.
And so, and at any point he could take it away.
Yes.
At any point I could wake up and no longer be able to sing.
Man.
And would I still worship? Would I still believe that God is good if I woke up and could not sing a note? Would I still believe that God's good?
You should.
I would.
You would. Yeah,
I like to say I would. I really hope that I would.
Yeah, but we don't know until we know. But sometimes the opportunity when it presents itself is sometimes I believe that God puts us in position like, let's see the response of it. Like, is it unconditional? I feel like it, regardless of what situation I'm in, I'm always like, there's someone out there that has it worse. So I just want to continue to be unconditional about it and then just let go and let God. That's something that I've really been practicing a lot. And since being in this building, I've never been so in tune with my faith and my passion. Honestly, like doing this was not in the plans. I'm good down with nobody says like me and Batchy working with each other and doing this wasn't it. It's just kind of like, your purpose and just having that alignment and passion. I'm just like, hey, but
you're gifted at talking to people, and so doing something like this is
just
good.
Again, and it really do. Like, I promise you, it's not me just saying because you're in front of me. It's like even now you were talking about you conduct or you engage in your Christianity to me as a work in progress.
Oh yeah.
From afar, I thought it was like, nah, this is. I didn't understand. I always saw the result. I never saw the in between. What led you to get to how Regi is. I just hear the end result, the story, like this action. Oh, damn, why did she do that? Oh, why she's over the top. But what led to that?
Yeah.
The story, and everyone has a story, and it's just a matter of like listening and being able to hear people out and telling it. So thank you for that. But now we're going to have a little fun. And we talked about this earlier.
Oh no.
So 3 opportunities. Watch only once. Throw it away entirely. Like, just look at it and then just throw it away.
Okay.
and keep it on loop.
Movies?
Repeatedly. No, not just movies. These are the 3 options.
Okay.
Okay. The Office, the Lord of the Ring trilogy, or Law and Order, SVU. Which one do we watch once?
Which one do we watch once?
Never again.
Once all the way through? So like The Office from season 1 to season 9?
Yep, in its entirety.
The whole thing, just one time.
You consume all of that hot sauce. Louisiana hot sauce.
Why are you doing this to me? Those are my 3 favorite things of all time.
I did my research. The poor journalist.
I'm going to make Matt watch this back. I'm going to make Matt guess what he thinks I'm going to say. And then have him watch it and see if he guesses right.
Yeah, Matt.
Okay. Watch once.
Yes. Throw away, like, just if you're on whatever thing, you see the plot, and then you're like, I'm out.
Oh.
Yep. And then you put on loop.
I feel more nervous about this than all these other hard questions.
I like this. I like this.
Okay. Watch all the way through once.
This is almost like goat talk.
Law and Order SVU. Mm-hmm. Throw away The Office.
Don't.
You throwing away The Office?
Yeah.
Okay.
I cannot not have Lord of the Rings.
There we go.
But I feel like I'm sinning by saying I'm going to throw away The Office. I feel like that's a sin.
Man.
I'm probably going to throw.
Who's
away
watching
Lord of the
once?
Rings.
You're watching once?
Yeah. Watching once?
Yeah, what you
SVU.
watching? SVU. Okay,
Yeah.
you're running all the way through. How many seasons?
26, baby.
Ooh.
26 seasons.
That's enough. That is
26.
enough.
Now, if you're Matt Wood, it's 12. He does not like after Elliot leaves. Like all those. After season 12, he's not about it. So we have to stick
what's
with
the
the first
fascinating? Yeah, hold on, go ahead, finish.
No,
finish.
that's all. That's
That's
all I
it?
was gonna say. Mm-hmm.
And so we are, all right, running back in. We're watching once, what?
SVU.
Okay, throwing away.
The Office.
All right, and on loop.
Lord of the Rings.
So we're watching all. Dude, they love. I'm telling, like, look, this is how I knew it was real. Okay? I'm with my wife. I'm with Kate. And I'm talking to you here.
I'm
I'm
listening.
in the it's background noise like on our TV, and mind you, my wife don't like loud shit. We get mad because we want that. She had the volume low, so the volume's low on the TV. Kate's in the kitchen cooking, and then Lord of the Rings on, and from out of nowhere, and I know this woman did not leave the kitchen, but then I just hear the voice mouth verbatim the scene that was on TV, and I'm sitting there with Twan like, you heard that? She goes, I heard a little bit, but I knew what scene it was, and I was like, bro, how in the end? And these are long movies.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
We can.
I
Yeah.
lost my hood card by watching the first Lord of the Rings. Like, my mom looked at me and she was like, boy, who watches this? And I was like, I don't know, I just thought it had monsters on it and I wanted to watch it. And I didn't watch another one after that because my mom was like,
Hold
"I'll
up. You
watch
haven't
this
seen the
now."
other two?
I mean, like, not to the point where I can, like,
Quote it. And
quote it.
Speak with it. Yeah.
But I mean, like, if it's there, I'm like, all right, I know it. Like, I know what the Hobbit is. But after the first one, that with Viggo Mortensen, with Sean Bean, he always dies in everything. This the one where he dies in? Yeah. After that one, yeah, I got nothing for you. But she knew. I was like, man.
Oh, they get so good.
You talking about a video game that y'all had?
Yeah, we had a Lord of the Rings video game.
And they only play no kind of video games. I tried to get my wife to, like, they were telling her how to do, like,
No, if you
contractions.
buy a Lord of the Rings game, she'll play it.
Oh, man.
You got to buy Lord of the Rings game.
They don't make those.
What Lord of the Rings game?
Oh, it was
It's one of the ones that's tied to the movies.
Yeah.
Conquest?
What?
No.
No.
No, I don't remember what it was called, but you could be like, I remember vividly being Gandalf and like doing all the things.
It's like part of, like, it's one of those, like, back in the day where they would have, like, the movie would come out and didn't have a video game for it or
Yeah,
whatnot.
it was like that.
Yeah. But it wasn't even a quality game, but they had
Yeah, it was
And I
pretty
like-
terrible.
I was like, oh, man. So,
I mean, I have
and you
I have 2 Lord of the Rings tattoos at this point. So
and you named your son.
I named my son Grayson. His middle name is Elliot. Elliot Stabler is a character from SVU.
What's
So
infatuation
see,
with this?
this is it's all.
And in her house, every time I came there, there was 3 things on. Well, no, always The Office was always
Yes.
on. And I'm like, hey, why does they? I can't watch. It took the world out of me to go back and watch all the Marvel films. After I watch them, I don't need to watch them again. And every time I've been married to, me and Kate's been together. We're going to 10 years, no, 9 years. Been married for 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 7. That's good. I win. But every time I see her, they're watching The Office.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I'm keeping The Office on loop. You could dive in at any episode and watch it, pick it up, easy, get
This
a
is
laugh.
true.
It's hilarious. It's gold.
I only watched one
Office is
episode.
gold.
It's
They
Idris
really-
Elba episode. It's the only episode I
Charles
ever watched.
Minor.
See, she didn't know the character. Wasn't it a one-off?
No, he was in maybe 2 or 3. He was in a couple, yeah. Yeah, I've watched The Office since high school. Yeah.
Wow.
It would be very difficult for me to actually choose. Like, if you put them in front of me and said, you have to do this, it would be a very difficult decision.
What's, out of all the characters on Law and Order, why Elliot?
Why Elliot? I just really liked him.
He just looks like a bad guy. He looks like a
does look like a
sticky
bad guy.
character. He
He
looks like a
does.
sticky character.
He does. But I liked the name Elliot, and then I just also liked Elliot and Olivia together. So my goal was to convince my husband to name our children Elliot and Olivia if we had a girl, but we had a boy. So
Man. So what is it about Elliot? It's nothing. It's just Elliot. Just everything he stands
Elliot
for.
Stabler.
Elliot Stabler.
Stabler and Benson for life.
Do you watch Law and Order?
Nope, not at all.
All I get is
You've
like,
never
not at
seen
all.
an episode.
Never.
I mean,
I'm a
it's,
trash Law and Order. I'm keeping Office on repeat. I'll watch Lord of the Rings once since I
Okay.
haven't, just to say I did it.
yeah,
Probably won't enjoy it.
I
but,
see that.
yeah.
All right. They don't make comedies like The Office anymore, though.
You can't. I don't think
This
you
is
can't.
true. This is true. Yeah,
The Office or the Community?
The Office.
Which one's better? Well, clearly, no. This is The Office. This is The Office.
If you ask me and him, it's gonna
Yeah,
be The
yeah.
Office.
This is The
I've
Office.
seen. Now I know you told me to watch Community. I've seen a couple episodes. I haven't gotten through, but you've told me to watch it, and I have.
I always like that kind of, the gym cam is always one thing. I always been
Yeah.
a fan of that.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. I never seen, again, like all throughout the Idris Elba episodes, the only one I ever seen was always like clips like it's inevitable. You can't like go throughout life without running into The Office.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that it's a remake. Yeah, it's one. What's that?
I
It's
don't
the
know.
British
Ricky-
one,
the
right?
British
Yeah.
one, right?
Yeah.
I guess British does it better.
Yeah.
And then America to kind of like inflate it in a sense. Okay, cool. Other than that, that's kind of hard to say. Like, if we had like a trilogy, what is your most favorite trilogy? If I didn't have to give you Lord of the Rings, we're going to film here. Have you seen a lot of trilogies?
I'm trying to think of the ones I've seen
Yeah.
because there are several that have more than 3. You know, there's like more than a trilogy. Like,
Is it?
I don't know. Chronicles.
You
of
could
Narnia
probably
have more
chop
than
up Star Wars, even though it's
Yeah, you
more
could.
episodes, but they were kind of released trilogy.
You
So
tell her, you ask her
I would-
dad.
You know
that
what I
would be-
love? I do, and this is maybe embarrassing to say on a podcast. I did love the Hunger Games movies. Oh. Yeah. I mean, I'm 34 now, so I wouldn't watch them now, but I did watch them quite a bit as a young one.
You know what? Hunger Games was my introduction to Twitter.
Was it?
Yeah, I didn't know the whole what's the character, Jennifer Lawrence's character in the Hunger Games?
Katniss Everdeen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Katniss or whatnot, and it was just a massive overflow of just like hashtag Katniss, hashtag something, blah blah blah. It is Hunger Game stuff, and I was like, what is this hashtag stuff? And I was getting out of Facebook, and like Twitter was
You
there,
know,
and
another
it's just,
trilogy that I loved was the Twilight movies.
Oh, dude,
I loved those as a teenager too.
This is terrible. We're gonna go into the other conversation.
I actually watched them. I watched them again.
They're all on Netflix now.
Just a couple of months ago, and Matt was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm watching Twilight. I don't know. I just felt like watching it."
Oh man,
they're terrible.
Man, that is. I've seen better acting on Lifetime movies, man.
Lord of the Rings is just that's gonna be forever the top.
The top
trilogy forever. It is. It's so good. Still, even after 25 years.
What's yours, Quan? What's your favorite trilogy?
Oh, I'm a comic book guy. So my favorite trilogy of all time is Captain America. That trilogy, like,
what is that? Captain America, Winter Soldier, and what's the last one?
Civil War. That's the best one in the Marvel MCU. I think, like, from story to tonal change, stakes, like, I love it. Lord of the Rings, I don't know, like, yeah.
Also, there's a sense of like nostalgia there for Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
It's like it's just been a constant.
Now that show,
Rings of Power.
That show was that first episode was solid, but Kate fell off.
Yeah,
Kate was like,
I'm trying to wait until
they got black people on it now, so I like it.
They do.
Yeah, buddy. I was like, yo, that's solid. What is? Hey, that would go. Hey, man, I like that one. That was solid. I wasn't expecting that, but I appreciate that for sure. Do you like the show?
I've watched 2 episodes. I think I want to wait until they're all done because I don't like waiting for shows.
Yeah,
I'm spoiled now.
That's what
I like to wait until it's done and then I just binge the whole thing.
She didn't ruin. She didn't. This was the one Regi thing that might when we started.
I didn't ruin anything. Don't you dare.
That Walking Dead thing. Oh. So she would before, like, it was a spoiler alert thing. I consume a lot of content by myself at my house, right? So as I'm jumping into the family or whatnot, you know, they used to have these Walking Dead nights. And then it starts to get, like, tense, I guess, with certain characters. Regi Reed,
Spoilers.
I guess, yeah. Before the show even happens, and it's like an hour.
There was a group on Facebook who had like spies that would go to the shoot where they were shooting the show, and they would get like, I don't know how they did it, but they were right every single week, and so they'd come out on like a Friday night with what's going to happen on the show that Sunday, and I would always read it because I get so nervous. I don't like not knowing things.
I was going to say, why would you want to do that to yourself?
Why would you want to? So on Sunday nights, we'll be there, and you want to immerse yourself into this world for an hour.
Everybody's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And I'm over here like,
I already know.
I already know, but I loved it.
And I'm just like, because I'm scanning the room, and then I would, now that I know that she knows, it just checks me out, and I'm like, she ruined it for me, man.
She's crying before anything even happens. It's crazy.
Man.
It was the what killed it for me was she knew the Glenn death.
I did.
And I was like, I'm done.
I didn't say it though.
No, you didn't say it
for everybody else.
But you wore it. You don't have to say it.
That's true.
I was like, man.
That's true.
This Regi is
Because he does that thing where he falls off the dumpster, and you think he dies when he falls off the dumpster.
It's a clear and mister, right?
Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen
No. They got multiple episodes. We're done with Walking Dead.
It's over. But yeah, and then it's like, that's when I think that is originally when I started looking up the spoilers, because I was like, I have to know if he is actually dead.
Oh, all right. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Do you have any more fun questions?
No.
Okay, great.
So yeah, last bit. And for me, I don't know if it's serious or not, but just inspiration. Your relationship, and Kate didn't hear me say this a lot. I love your relationship. I love even the relationship with your mom. How your mom never misses a phone call, and it's like FaceTime. And I'm like, that's something that I was not, all of that is foreign to me. Even now to this day, sometimes I still like struggle with that connect. It's like, it's almost like we take for granted the family that we have. And I think it's that because we never we never experienced loss at the level that y'all did. And I always equate to that because it's like, or lean on that because I'm like, they experienced something so critical, so heavy, especially like, I mean, as teenagers. And us at that time, like we're fighting like cats and dogs. And we just assume that no one's going anywhere. Like we rarely like hearing I love you out loud was something that I never really heard. Like just being not as combative, not fighting. So seeing your sister's relationship and the maturity of it and like I guess you can say at points the controlling thing, but if I didn't know any better, like that never really happened because it's like y'all was able to grow past that and always just look at each other as like a nurturing, and it's just always like just building each other up. I just always want to say, I mean, thank you, and I just always inspired me. That's inspired me to like lean in heavily into my sisters and build up the relationship with my brother. So what that dynamic, what sparked that pivot from you going to, from what we see now or what I see now on a daily basis from what it was?
A lot of it was me. A lot of it is the work that I've had to do because like I said, I was super controlling over her specifically. Because losing my brother did create a lot of, I mean, I know for a fact that's where my anxiety stems from. It's, because it is. He was here one day and he was not the next. It wasn't like we knew it was coming for a month. It was like car accident done, And so it was a really, really life-changing thing. And knowing she was my only sibling left, I was like, okay, I've got to make sure that everything she does is safe and everything she does. And it even went up to when she had Mel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and there was an issue where it was either I have to release control of this or I don't get to be in my niece's life. And that wasn't an option.
Yeah.
So like I had to get over it. I had to release control. And I just remember very, very, very heavily praying for that entire first year. Because I was worried and I still worry. But I also have grown enough in my relationship with God to know that it's not in my power to protect anyone. And then having my own kids is the same. I always thought if my kids are not with me, they're not safe. If they're not with me, I'm going to lose them. And so that took a lot of, and so it wasn't just with Katie, but I think that it did start to change when I stopped being so controlling and more helpful than controlling. I learned how to kind of channel my desire to be involved to help instead of give advice that wasn't asked for. So
unsolicited.
Right. Yeah, so I started offering to come clean, or I started, and now I think that Katie respects me more now as a sister than she did back then when I was trying to be, I wanted her to respect me and I wanted her to look up to me and think the best of me, but I was not acting in the best way. Whereas now I just care about her and you and your family, and I want to help however I can, and I think that's kind of built our relationship to what it is. And like you said, we've always had a family that's been like, every time we get off the phone, it's I love you. Every time. I was 26 probably by the time I stopped to my dad on the phone. Like every time it happened, every single time, but my husband wasn't like that either. His family, they were not ever really touchy-feely. They didn't say a whole lot of I love yous. There was not like communication like there is with me and Mimi. Like Mimi does not miss a phone call.
No.
Mimi, unless there's like something going on, but she is involved, and there is love, and it is said and it is shown, and that's just how our family's always been. And so it's kind of strange for Matt too. He's like, I mean, he's used to it now, and it doesn't bother him, and he enjoys talking to Mimi and Poppy too. But that's just how we've always been.
Yeah, and that's I always said it's very like it's unique To me, I don't know about the world, but it's very unique to me.
Well, I mean, me and Katie came from the same family.
Yeah.
You and Matt did not come from the same family, and you both say this is like unique. So it must be, it's all we've ever known. But
y'all small.
And of course we did have our problems, but at the end of the day, I think it's just, especially now that we're adults and I am closer to God than I was before, I'm able to just give it up.
Yeah.
And just focus on loving and serving how I can. And God does the rest.
There we go. Yeah, God don't need nobody help.
Nope.
God
sure doesn't.
Well, to conclude this, I would say if there's anything that you can tell, like anyone that's like me, where they're straddling the line and they don't really know or go about it, like anything, whether it's like Christ or big on like I know that there's a higher power. I do believe in God, but sometimes like making that full, commitment, I guess, to like outwardly express that on a day-to-day basis and don't feel like fraudulent. Yeah, because it's like I want to be authentic. I'm comfortable, like if I don't like you, I have no issue like letting you know what that is. But if I tell you like it's okay, God loves you, I feel like, man, I don't really mean that. Because I don't like you.
Yeah.
So like, why do I want to wish good? But in all actuality, like God loves us all.
Yeah. And I would say the most important thing to do for that is just to be in the Word. Because the more you know God and the character of God and who God is, and the better your inward, the fuller your inward cup is, that's what's going to start flowing out to other people.
Yeah.
And so it won't be a choice of like, oh, I don't even really like you, so I don't want to say like, God loves you. I don't want to help you because I don't even like you.
Yeah.
But when you are spending time with God like you should be, and when you are in the Word, I mean, because honestly, like reading the Bible is much less for me than it is like reading the Bible teaches me who God is. It teaches me about the character of God. In all of these Bible stories and all of these things, like I'm able to look at what is God doing in these stories and how is he treating his people and what is he trying to teach them. And so that influences the way that I feel about other people without me really having to even make an effort for it. And so when my heart is overflowing with gratitude and thankfulness and being so close to the Lord, the Holy Spirit is able to speak through me.
Yeah.
And the Holy Spirit says things that sometimes I don't want to say.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit says things that are real nice that sometimes Regi doesn't want to say.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just getting into the Word every single day and getting it into your heart, getting it into your kids' hearts. I mean, the Bible tells us to talk about it when we sit down and when we stand up, to post it on our door and to tattoo it on our heads and all these things. And that's why, because when your heart is full of the gospel and when your heart is full of what God commands you to do and who God is, it's going to overflow.
Yeah.
And you won't even really have to make the conscious effort to say like, I love you, man. Have a great day. And you'll find yourself overlooking things that would make you mad before. You'll find yourself forgiving people that you've never forgiven before.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that you forgive and forget. You still forgive and protect. You still protect yourself and you still protect your family.
Yeah.
But forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. And so it's like you'll find yourself having a desire to do these things because you are closer to who God is, and God and the Holy Spirit are drawing you to a place where your desires are His.
Yeah. Man, well, that being said,
sorry, I get excited.
No, man, that is good. Well, look, that was cool. That was a banger, and that's a show. You can bring it in. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sign us out, Q.
All right. Like and subscribe, click, and follow.